Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's going on, man? I hope you guys are doing all right. I know my day's going pretty good, man. Check this out, man. Before we get this video podcast started, you guys know how I like to start my videos, always with the moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers, and for those of us who are still, bound down to some sort of struggle that keeps us from moving forward in this toxic life that we live, man. So yeah, if you would, please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. All right, well, let's get this podcast started, man. How's it going, man? Are you guys doing all right? Yeah, man, my day's going pretty good. Well, check this out. What I want to talk to you guys about today is a subject that I've been working on in my recovery, and it's a subject that I believe that is a little scarce in a sense for some people, because they may not think that they're in that class, or they're that, or they're just not, there's some people who think that they can do something, some people that don't think, and it goes back and forth, right? And the subject I want to talk to you about today is the subject of knowledge in general with life and the suffering of life, and that we want to correlate that into the world of recovery, right? And this is what I want to talk to you guys about today: how knowledge has been a big part of my journey in spirituality and recovery. You know what I mean? And I want to share that with you guys because I know that for a lot of people tend to believe that they're not. A lot of people tend to put themselves in a class to say, "Hey, no, I've never been good at school," or I can't learn that good, or it's just not for me. That's not my thing, right? And people always put kind of like this label of knowledge that you have to kind of put that with this whole education thing. Like you have to, like, I'll never be able to get a degree or something like of that nature, right? And yes, that's part of knowledge, but it's not all of it. You know what I mean? It's not. There's knowledge is a wide subject that can be wired in or intertwined into your spirituality, into your recovery. And I believe, this is just my personal opinion, that knowledge is the key to moving forward in any adversity that you have in your life. You know what I mean? It is a learned behavior, if you will. It's something that you and I were born with, this capacity to obtain knowledge. You know what I'm saying? This is just how the divine brought us into this world. This divine brought us into this world only with the natural things of our senses, the fight or flight type thing. You know what I mean? And that's our natural sense. That's our natural reaction to things. That's our natural thing that we already have built into our system, right? And but what we don't have is the knowledge. So the knowledge is something that I believe you're equipped with this thing called the brain, right? That you gather throughout your life, all this knowledge, and it's something that it never stops. You know what I'm saying? It never stops. But in our society, if you will, we have this thing that's called an education system that allows you to put restrictions in that knowledge capability that we're born with. You know what I mean? So if and it sucks that way, because they tell you have to finish school, go to college, get a good job, da 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 da, right? And and for some people, it tends to be an obstacle that they can never get over because they think that this is the way it has to be. I have to follow these steps in order to move and progress in my life. And when you get stuck in an adversity of some sort of thing that keeps you bound down, like trauma, like stress, like anxiety, like addiction, well, those things hinder the fact that it kind of puts you in this delusional phase that tells you that you can't progress. You know what I mean? But I'm here to tell you, and through my own experiences, that that's a false statement. You can do and progress and kick any habit so long you are open-minded, willing, and truthful to gaining new knowledge. And for me personally, that is one of the big things that has helped me in my recovery journey. You know what I mean? In my journey of spirituality, and it's getting all this knowledge, and not only just sucking in the knowledge and learning new things, but also taking action to that. Because you can sit down and read or watch documentaries or videos all day long, and it's just that. You know what I mean? You're still dealing with your weight. You're still dealing with your anxiety. You're still dealing with the stress. You're still dealing with the addiction. You're still dealing with all the trauma. You know what I'm saying? But if you get the knowledge and the wisdom that you're picking up and put it into action, that's where the transformation starts. That's where the liberation starts. You know what I'm saying? That's where you start being open-minded, truthful, and willing. That's where your heart and soul starts connecting and talking to your brain. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, we've lived our lives just in this brain format. You know what I mean? Whatever we think, whatever we see here, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And the feeling part, we don't want to connect that. So we suppress the feeling, but everything else is how we live. And that's just living through a heart and mind is what I call it. You know what I mean? And I've learned that by seeking knowledge and in knowledge and things that you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, that's how you're going to get past an adversity is by the mental thought process, number one, and then learning a new way to move your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's possible. You know what I mean? This has been a study, a theory for many since Plato Plato and Aristotle, and you know what I mean? Since those days, Sigmund Freud, all of those, since those days, since ancient times, man, they figured out that the mind is malleable. In other words, the mind can be changed. The mind can learn and be unlearned. You know what I'm saying? And that is one of the beautiful things about you and I, is that we have that capability. You know what I'm saying? We have the capability to maneuver our mindset how we want it, man. You know what I'm saying? And why not? If you have that capability, man, that's like having a superpower. You know what I mean? And if you have that capability, why not use it in a spiritual and good sense? You know what I'm saying? And because I know for a long time I lived in this heart and mind. You know what I'm saying? And my heart and mind told me that if I did drugs and I sold drugs, then I wouldn't feel the trauma, I wouldn't feel the stress, the anxiety, and the flashing lights and the lifestyle was what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And everything else got suppressed. It was still bothering me. I was still getting pulled in 10 different directions in my mind, in my heart and soul. But I suppressed it and I led a different life. You know what I'm saying? And for a long time I did that. Uh, and one of the ways that helped me, you know, kind of advance my recovery and my spiritual journey is through knowledge. You know what I mean? I decided that, you know, I was going to go back to school, you know, and get a degree. And I did that, you know what I mean? I went and I got like 3 degrees now, you know what I mean? And which is fine, you know what I'm saying? And and now I'm in this on this spiritual journey that is totally different as far as the knowledge goes, and I'm sucking in this different knowledge. But now this knowledge isn't just for here, it's for here and here. It's for the for my mind and my heart and my soul. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference there when you're just doing the knowledge for the brain and for everything externally is totally different than doing it for your mental thought process and your feelings. You know what I'm saying? And yourself in here in your spiritual connection to that divine energy. It's a totally different animal. You know what I'm saying? And it is by no means is it am I going to sit here and tell you that it's an easy thing to do, but it's an attainable thing to do, and it's something that you're going to have to do some work. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to spend hours getting this knowledge and then finding a game plan to, you know, interact that into your own lifestyle so that you can put that stuff that you're learning to use. Because ultimately, changing habits and changing thought processes is a repetitive thing that you have to do physically and mentally sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it isn't something that you're just gonna read once and watch a documentary once and you're good. You know, no, this is something that you're gonna have to adopt and mesh into your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But the kicker here is that if the repetitiveness is the key, the more that you do it, the more that your mind starts changing. And the more knowledge you put into there that happens to be of spiritual and good nature will automatically, the more you do it, the more you continue to do it, the more that you'll find yourself picking up on things throughout your life that, oh, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't eat this. Maybe I should eat this. Or maybe I shouldn't buy this. You know what I mean? Or maybe I shouldn't talk to them this way. Maybe I should, you know, help here, or maybe I should help there. It just gives you this whole other lens of life that is just amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? And because not only is it a good feeling for you, but it's also something that it's allowing you to mesh into this spiritual character of loving and giving and doing for others. You know what I'm saying? Because obtaining this knowledge and putting this into work in your own mental and mental thought process and in your feelings is the work of compassion on oneself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to do. And that's basically setting a foundation of a beautiful thought process. You know what I'm saying? So when you get all this wisdom and knowledge and you start putting it into action in your own life, now you're setting this foundation for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And when you set that foundation, man, knowledge of whatever it is that you're struggling with, you know, searching and researching things of that nature, and also incorporating that into a spiritual connection, it binds and ties together so like tight that it gets rooted in your foundation, man, and it's hard to break that, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you do this on a repetitive basis. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that you have to do on the daily. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's like I said, it's not an easy thing to do because it took me a while to form new habits. But what I do know is that it's not something that that was out of reach. You know, there at first, you know, in my first days of recovery, it was hard. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so used to a lifestyle, and I was so used to doing things my way. And when you have to put your way aside and do it in that spiritual way, because doing it in a spiritual way means that you're doing it with you being the head of the or you being the driver in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Because now you're taking the back seat and you're allowing the spiritual connection to do the driving for you, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but it's also giving you these nuggets of wisdom, and showing you, sometimes literally showing you, and sometimes it's just a mental show but it's telling you which way to go. You know what I mean? It's going to tell you turn left, turn right, keep going this way, or turn back. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I like about the continuation of knowledge and wisdom that I'm sucking up, because it really, man, it really keeps you on your P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? Because it keeps your mind keen. You know what I'm saying? When you got your mind keen, man, it's like you're not tunnel visioning anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to just live that way in this tunnel vision. Now I got these blinders off, and boom, I can see everything. You know what I'm saying? And I know not only can I see everything, but I also can feel and see what part of my life that I need to discard, what part of my life that I need to love and nurture a little bit, what part of my life I need to throw more knowledge and wisdom into. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a really cool thing, is that knowledge, man. And it doesn't mean that you got to go back to school or whatever. It just means that you got to be open-minded, willing, and truthful with yourself to learn new things. You know what I'm saying? And you can learn these new things by involving yourself in a community, man. Involving yourself in a 12-step program. Involving yourself in a spiritual program. Involving yourself in a just being there for family, or, you know, friends, but being with like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? That's the key, is being with like-minded, illuminated beings that want the same thing that you want, that want a spiritual life, that want a better life, that want to kick habits, that want to live, you know, healthy. You know what I'm saying? And when you put yourself in contact with illuminated people like that, man, the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? It's just a vast thing that you can do and learn. And when you involve yourself in these communities, like myself personally, man, I involve myself in a Dharma recovery center over at the Buddhist temple. I do Celebrate Recovery, where I'm going tonight. I do the peer support groups at the VA. I do music therapy, and I indulge myself in different things. You know what I mean? I go and do the Bhakti Yoga with my friends at the Bhakti Yoga Center, with the doing the kirtan and the Hare Krishna, and it's just when you involve yourself in a spiritual connection with people, it's just, I don't know, it's just this thing that just draws you to more and more and more. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, when you fill yourself up with all of this stuff, with all of this beautiful knowledge and spiritual, you know, things, then you're able to share those. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key, man. The key is to share it with your community. Share it with your people, because people need to hear those things, man. We live in such a toxic world right now that people are starving for knowledge, man. You know what I'm saying? People are starving for knowledge. People are starving for spirituality. They're starving for something that can take hold of their hand and say, hey, you know what, man? You're worth it. You're okay. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be loved over here. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people walk and spend their days lonely. You know what I'm saying? They spend their lonely, anxious, depressed, stressed, dealing with trauma, and man, that's why I like sharing these messages. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been that person. dealing with the trauma, dealing with the stress, dealing with the anxiety, dealing with the bad addictions and all that stuff, man. You know what I mean? Even dealing with the suicidal thoughts, man. I'm at a point now in my life that's spiritual and of wanting to help somebody. You know what I'm saying? By no means am I out of the water. I'll never be out of the water. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an addict. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. You know, I deal with a disease of addiction. I deal with trauma that will never go away, but I can somehow mesh that into my life in a good sense, because I think that all the suffering and things that I've gone through are golden nuggets now, because it's something that I've experienced, something that I've learned to get through, and something now that I have this knowledge and wisdom to share with other people who may be going through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a beautiful thing, man, knowledge. And I just wanted to, put that up there today as my subject, and kind of, just share that. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to also share a few other things about it. It is that anyone can learn. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can learn, and the knowledge helps us grow. You know what I mean? It helps you grow into a different person. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is that when you incorporate knowledge and wisdom into your lifestyle, you're going to find out that you're going to change. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that you got to be, like I said before, open-minded, willing, and truthful to the change. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a hard thing to do for a lot of us who lived hardened-minded. We're so used to our lifestyle that, to bring new things means new action, means new friendships. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are afraid of that, man. But I'm here to tell you, man, that it's just a little bit at a time. And trust me, man, I'm living proof that it works. You know what I'm saying? And so knowledge also, like I said, it enhances your life. And it also, you can share what you know with others. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I do this channel. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, man, is that learning and knowledge doesn't have an expiration date. You know what I'm saying? It's not like something that once you attain, that's it. No, this is an ongoing process, my friends. You know what I'm saying? When you were born, you didn't know anything. You know what I mean? And it was purposely done that way. You know what I'm saying? The divine energy had it purposely done that way. Why? Because there's so much knowledge and wisdom that you have to learn. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that there's a capacity to that. This is like the universe. You know what I'm saying? There's no end to it. You can learn new things and acquire that knowledge to help you progress in your lifestyle, help you, change that mental thought process from that hardened mind to have a mind that connects from the mental thought process to your heart and soul, man, because that connects. You know what I'm saying? And it's scientifically proven now that the heart and the brain are one. You know what I'm saying? They call the heart the little brain now, because everything that the brain has, as far as, all the neurons and all of that kind of stuff, everything that electrifies in there that makes you do what you do and makes you think what you think, is connected to the heart. And because it's the same, it's one and the same, man. And it's beautiful, because you know what? That language, that frequency is from heart to soul to brain, is the same frequency and the same it's the same language that the divine energy knows. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? So when you got all this beautiful and spiritual and good knowledge going in here, then it gets here, then it in turn there gives you this action. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful. And what more beautiful thing that it's even connected to the divine energy, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful, I think. Also, it's it's all about also making it fun. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that, oh, learning it, so, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, make it a fun thing. You know what I'm saying? And make it a fun thing for you. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, it's you that we're working on. You know what I'm saying? Like myself, I had to work with me first. You know what I'm saying? Before I could do anything else and help anybody else out, I had to be compassionate and self-centered me. I had to work on me first. You know what I'm saying? I had to work on my mental thought process first. I had to work on my health first before I could even decide that I was going to even spit a word out to anybody. You know what I'm saying? I have to make sure that I'm walking the walk if I'm going to talk the talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's imperative, man. You know what I mean? That you have fun, dude, and make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Because a fun life's a good life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And another thing I wanted to talk to you, well, just kind of share with y'all. Let me see if I can pull this up. Where we at? Okay, yeah, and it just a couple other little points that I wanted to make. That it also, knowledge reduces the stigma and the shame. It helps improve self-management, boost confidence and motivation, and it enhances decision making, and also supports long-term growth. It empowers families and communities. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful, dude. That it does this. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said before, there's been people who are fearful of the change. You know what I'm saying? And being fearful, it's one of the natural reactions that we have to things, but it also can be a tool to use. You know what I'm saying? If you're fearful of something that you think might help you and you're afraid to jump into this, then you know what? That's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things you got to jump into. You know what I'm saying? Like myself, at first, I remember when I was first going to go to, when I went to the last school that I went to, which was for to do this security, cybersecurity stuff. I was fearful of doing it because I didn't know if I was too old to be in that class, or I didn't, who's going to hire me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just all these things that come, but I said, you know what? Then that's what I got to do. And I did it. You know what I mean? I did. I went to the school, finished it, graduated, and everything was great. You know what I mean? And so it's just more knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And more of setting an example for your community, for your people. You know what I mean? And so that's just another thing that I could have as an example to show my family, the communities that I deal with, and that sort of thing, to say, hey, you know what? It's never too late to learn, man. It's never too late to get that knowledge, to change that mindset, man, so that you can have a beautiful life and you can get rid of some of those chains that keep you bound down, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, but anyway, I that's what I wanted to share with you guys today, man. Yeah, so I guess at this time, man, if you would please, man, give me a thumbs up, hit me a comment, hit the bell, hit that subscribe button. Just know that when you do hit that subscribe button, it didn't cost you a thing, man. Don't cost you a thing at all. But you know what? You'll be helping out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with PTSD, childhood traumatic experiences, anger issues, stress, drug addiction, alcoholism, suicidal thoughts, all those things, my friends. Because you know what? At one point in time in my life, I dealt with all of those things, man. And you know what? I know a way out. And my way out could be your way out. So I guess until the next time, on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.